The World Cup Final, the biggest stage in football. The moment when nations hold their breath, when legends are made, and when history is written forever. But which finals truly stand above the rest? Which matches delivered drama, heartbreak, and moments that will never be forgotten? Welcome to the Sporting Vault. Today we count down the top 10 greatest World Cup finals of all time. Number 10. France vs. Brazil, 1998. Paris, France. The host nation against the greatest team of their generation. Brazil arrived in Paris as heavy favorites, with Ronaldo leading the attack. But something wasn't right. Hours before kickoff, Ronaldo suffered a convulsive fit. He was left off the team sheet, then remarkably put back on. The world was confused. Brazil were rattled. France, inspired by the incomparable Zinedine Zidane, took full advantage. Zidane headed home twice in the first half, and Emmanuel Petit sealed it with a third late on, 3-0. France were world champions for the first time, and a nation erupted. It was a final defined as much by mystery as by football. Number 9. West Germany vs. Hungary, 1954. Bern, Switzerland. Known as the Miracle of Bern, Hungary were considered the greatest team on earth, unbeaten in 4 years, and they had already thrashed West Germany 8-3 in the group stage. But football has never cared for certainty. In the final, Hungary raced into a 2-0 lead within 8 minutes. West Germany pulled it back to 2-2, and then, with 6 minutes remaining, Helmut Rahn struck to make it 3-2. West Germany won. A nation, still rebuilding from the devastation of war, had its miracle. A moment that meant so much more than football. Number 8. Argentina vs. West Germany, 1986, Mexico City. This was the final of one man, Diego Maradona. Maradona had carried Argentina through the tournament on his shoulders, delivering one of the greatest individual performances in football history. The final itself was a classic. Argentina led 2-0. West Germany fought back to 2-2 with just minutes remaining. And then Jorge Burruchaga latched onto a Maradona pass and fired Argentina back in front. 3-2. The final whistle blew. Maradona wept. Argentina were champions, and the little man from Buenos Aires had conquered the world. Number 7. Italy vs. France, 2006, Berlin, Germany. This final will forever be remembered for one moment of madness. France and Italy were level at 1-1 after 90 minutes, heading into extra time. Then, the world watched in disbelief as Zinedine Zidane, the greatest player of his generation in his final professional match, headbutted Marco Materazzi in the chest and was shown the red card. Italy held on. The penalty shootout went their way, but the image that lives on is Zidane walking off that pitch, past the World Cup trophy, never to play football again. Heartbreak, drama, and controversy, all in one unforgettable night. Number 6. West Germany vs. Netherlands, 1974, Munich, Germany. The final before a ball had even been kicked by the opposition. Netherlands kicked off, passed the ball around, and won a penalty, without a single German player touching it. Johan Neeskens converted. Netherlands led before Germany had touched the ball, but the Dutch grew overconfident. West Germany fought back, scoring twice before halftime through Breitner and the legendary Gerd Müller. 2-1, West Germany were champions. The total football revolution of the Netherlands had fallen at the final hurdle in one of the most tactically fascinating finals ever played. Number 5. Brazil vs. Italy, 1970, Mexico City. Widely considered the greatest World Cup final ever played. Brazil vs. Italy, the beautiful game at its most beautiful. Brazil were magnificent. Pelé, Jairzinho, Rivellino, Tostão, a team that seemed to have been sent from another planet. Pelé headed Brazil in front. Italy equalized, but Brazil were simply unstoppable. They scored 3 more in the second half, completing a 4-1 victory that had the world on its feet. At the final whistle, Pelé was mobbed. Brazil lifted the Jules Rimet Trophy for the 3rd time and kept it forever. This was football as art. Number 4. Argentina vs. France, 2022, Lusail, Qatar. The greatest World Cup final of the modern era, perhaps the greatest ever played. Argentina led 2-0 with 10 minutes remaining. The trophy seemed destined for Lionel Messi. Then Kylian Mbappé struck twice in 97 seconds to level it at 2-2. In extra time, Messi scored again. Mbappé completed his hat-trick to make it 3-3. A penalty shootout, nerves of steel. Argentina held on. Messi lifted the World Cup. After everything, the near misses, the heartbreak, the years of waiting, he had finally done it. The greatest player of his generation had his greatest prize. Some called it the greatest sporting event ever witnessed. Number 3. England versus West Germany, 1966, Wembley, London. The only World Cup final England have ever played. And what a final it was. West Germany equalized in the final minute to take it to extra time. Then came the most controversial moment in World Cup history. Geoff Hurst's shot crashed off the crossbar and down. Was it over the line? The linesman said yes. The goal stood. Hurst completed his hat trick in the dying seconds. The only hat trick ever scored in a World Cup final. 4-2. England were world champions. For English fans, it remains the greatest day in football history. For everyone else, the debate about that goal will never, ever end. Number 2. West Germany versus Italy, 1982, Madrid, Spain. Italy versus West Germany, two of football's greatest nations, a final that delivered everything. Italy, led by the brilliant Paolo Rossi, took control. 3-1 with time running out. West Germany pulled one back to make it 3-2, setting up a frantic finish. But Italy held on. Alessandro Pertini, the Italian president, punched the air in the stands. Marco Tardelli scored and ran with tears streaming down his face in what became one of football's most iconic celebrations. 3-1. Italy were world champions, and Tardelli's run remains burned into the memory of everyone who witnessed it. Number 1. Brazil versus West Germany, 1950, Rio de Janeiro. The final that wasn't officially a final, but produced the greatest shock in football history. The Maracanazo, Uruguay versus Brazil in the deciding match of the 1950 World Cup, played in front of nearly 200,000 people in the Maracanã. Brazil needed only a draw. The entire nation had already begun to celebrate. Newspapers had printed the congratulations. The trophy was as good as theirs. Then, Uruguay scored. 2-1. Silence fell over the largest crowd in football history. Brazil were broken. The nation wept. It remains the greatest upset, the greatest heartbreak, and the most dramatic conclusion in the history of the World Cup. Nothing before or since has shaken the football world quite like the Maracanazo. Outro. And there you have it, the top 10 greatest World Cup finals of all time. Do you agree with the list? Which final do you think deserves the number 1 spot? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to The Sporting Vault, where sporting legends live. We'll see you in the next one.